Hello and welcome back for our last match with Legacy Zoo. As it turns out, the mysterious So Rucky is in fact friendly StarCityGames buyer Wes Wise, who has kindly offered to play his Rug Delver deck against us. So, we're going to stop hemorrhaging tickets and see if Goblin Guide and Chain Lightning can stand up to Delver Secrets and Ponder. So, we're on the draw against a Delver deck, which is never a great place to be. But you also need lands, so mulliganing this one, also mulliganing this one, and keeping this one. So our plan, I think, is to fetch... I don't think that we can afford to play conservatively on 5 cards. I think that we just have to be willing to lose to a lot of stuff, up to and including Stifle. Certainly Stifle and Wasteland. I don't think that you can, slow walk your Wild Nacatl. So we will play our basic mountain and kick it back over. I think Path to Exile is probably a little worse in this deck than I initially thought, mostly because it requires white mana against, creature decks because you're Path to Exiling something. And a lot of the creature decks nowadays have Wasteland, which is, we have no basic white sources, and we are often going to have exactly one white source, so it's just a tough spot to be in. I understand that you need to take care of Tarmogoyf, and that's, primarily what this card is here for, killing Tarmogoyf without gaining them, 5 life. But it's tough, and that's worth acknowledging. Meanwhile, Wes getting a little flooded. Fortunately, only hitting us for 1 with this Nimble Mongoose. So I think we have to... We don't have to do anything right now. We're getting hit for 1 a turn. I assume he's got 3 or 4 counters in hand. Probably a removal spell. We're going to bolt him since otherwise he can just chain our Chain Lightning back at us. I'm expecting some sort of end-step Brainstorm plus double fetch to turn on Mongoose, but nope, just more beats. Okay, well, this one's going to earn a counter. I can feel it. Wow, what does our opponent have? This is fascinating. Oh, stifle the trigger? Yeah, okay. Well, got another one. And this. And upstairs. I mean, we're certainly not playing around days now. Maybe he's just really flooded. Okay, so Nope, just has a bunch of removal. It's possible that we wanted to play Experiment 1 and Bolt. Because we didn't have a green source in play and Burning Tree Emissary was our only green source. But I don't know. We're going to send our Grizzlies on in. And to post-combat this Grim Lavamancer. Lavamancer obviously phenomenal in this spot. He forces pitching Stifle, and he flips his Delver with Daze against our one land draw, so that will probably wrap things up. Yeah, I can't envision a world in which we win this one. I understand like what he's afraid of here. Like he has to worry about any number of burn spells that I could have, but he's got Daze and I've only got one land. So like even if I draw a land, play it, and cast a burn spell, I don't have him dead, and he has me dead over 2 turns. So Mulligan to 5 plus Stifle pretty strong. So Eidolon of the Great Relva is like a tempting card to board in against Delver decks. The issue is that it gets outclassed on the board, and you can't flinch. You can't be behind on board against Rogue Delver. It doesn't really work out for you. Like, we have to board in this Path to Exile. Like, the reason I board in Path here but not against Blue White Red is because of True Name Nemesis. And their threats are, you know, green. Like, their big threat is Tarmogoyf instead of True Name. So Lavamancer, okay, not great. It doesn't kill as many things in this matchup as it does in the Blue White Red matchup. Destructive Revelry, just not even a card here. Searing Blaze, also not great. So I guess we're probably boarding in these Pyroblasts and the Path and cutting the Burning Tree Emissaries, since a 2/2 does literally nothing against his deck. Like, doesn't get through Mongoose, is just too slow. So, lands and spells, pretty easy keep. We have a dual land and 2 fetch lands, so we're going to kick off with fetch land into dual land. And we are going to get a plateau. No, we're going to get a savanna, that's right. We're going to get a savanna. And we have Savanna Taiga. And so we can play Taiga and cast Goblin Guide and have Path up. Although, like, you really want to space out your spells against Rogue Delver. And that was the mistake that I made against Blue White Red, was just jamming Price of Progress at the earliest window and just losing to Daze. Whereas if I had waited, I would have ended up in a spot where I had 4 lands and I could cast Price, he would Daze, I would pay, and he would take 2. And so the same thing would happen, but he would end up with 4 less life over the course of those interactions, and then we could have attacked him for exactly lethal on the last turn. Because, yeah, we would have had Experiment 1 in play. But anyway, bringing it back to the present, we have a very powerful 1-drop into 1-drop opener. And so we actually have the luxury of sitting back and sort of playing the board. Our opponent is going to need a serious roadblock. Nimble Mongoose isn't there yet. So we're going to just get these in there. Goblin Guide draws our opponent land, and okay. So, whoops. We got ourselves an Experiment 1 and hopefully enough burn to last through the game, but unlike last game, we are going to be a little more patient with it. I think that that is one of the big keys to playing red decks, is sort of pacing the game properly. Instead of just playing into everything your opponent has, let the game come to you a little more. And you know, don't feel like you're in a rush to kill them unless, you know, they can kill you very quickly. But if they're a mid-range deck or a control deck, then it's about getting value out of your cards, not about like trying to kill them before some window closes. So this is tough. They've got 6 cards, 5 cards in their graveyard, and a fetch land in play. So if they have any instant, then they just get to eat something for free. So I think we've got to pass here and let our opponent do whatever it is that they're going to do. With no brainstorms seen and with only 1 lightning bolt seen, I think that it would be irresponsible to assume that our opponent has no plays. And now they obviously like have the ability to get thresholded. So we have entered the part of the game where we're racing. Our opponent did not break their fetch lands though, so we're good for a little while longer. I think we would like a good spot to stick Chain Lightning. Although, like, we're not in a bad spot. Assuming they don't have a 3rd Nimble Mongoose, we're, you know, we've got all the time in the world to draw more stuff. Like, we've got all this removal. I think we got a trade here. Hope our opponent doesn't have, like, I don't know, Hunt the Hunter. Hunt the Hunter would be sick. Okay. So we get to block. He decides he wants to kill our Nicodle and keep his Mongoose, which is reasonable. So we have no attacks. And we're gonna see what his Delver's got for him. Doesn't have a spell. So I'm gonna let him draw it. It's a land, which is good. The other concern is, like, if it's a Tarmogoyf, obviously you want to shuffle it away with Path to Exile. But yeah, I don't think we can double block here. We certainly can't cast Chain Lightning without our opponent tapping through a ton of red mana. So that takes care of that. We attack with these. Black here, take 4 double bolt kills. I don't think we're going to get a better opening. I think we have to hope that our opponent has actual nothing and doesn't play around double bolt. So the top 2 cards of his deck are lands, which is cute. If he has Bolt, then we're pretty crushed here. Submerge Jesus. So we can still get him if we... So yeah, he can't know that we have Bolt in our hand. So he reveals Ponder. We just have to figure out a way to get him to crack a fetch land. It's unlikely to happen, but I can hold out hope. So I'm reading this as him having a removal spell or a creature to cover Goblin Guide, which is on top of our deck. So yeah, we can block, go to 1. And hope to peel any burn spell, although Chain Lightning draws the game. So we're on a 6-outer. I guess we can double block and kill it, since it's not like he's exactly pointing a lightning bolt at a goblin guide at this point in the game. So theoretically that bought us another turn. I don't think that we can point bolt at Delver here. You would just have no way to win if we do that. And now that we know that we have to do it, we don't want to give him a chance to draw any sort of counterspell. And I was wrong. We actually do have a way to draw the game. We can hit Price of Progress. Although the odds that one of those 4 cards is a counter are quite high. So, thus ends our sordid adventure with Zoo in Legacy. I will be playing Vintage for some time to come. Sorry, y'all. I'll be back next week.